Now at 7, Governor Cuomo resigns exactly a week after the bombshell Attorney General report.
The best way I can help now is if I step aside and let government get back to governing.
A stunning fall from grace after leading New York through the pandemic.
You make that gown look good?
But claims of sexual harassment and misconduct take him down. The governor apologetic, but also defensive.
There is a difference between alleged improper conduct and concluding sexual harassment.
So what happens next? Tonight, a woman is set to lead the state for the first time. What happens with the impeachment probe? We sit down with a lawmaker handling the impeachment inquiry, and a woman who accused the governor of misconduct speaks out. Now at 7.
Thank you so much for joining us on this historic evening. I'm Natalie Pascarella. In 2 weeks, the Cuomo dynasty in New York State will come to an end. Another New York governor taken down by a sex scandal. Now, when allegations first emerged, the governor was defiant and refused to resign. Even today, it seemed like he would stay in office when he started to speak. Well, his lawyer attacked the Attorney General's report and its credibility. But the pressure of that report and the 11 women who came forward with allegations of sexual harassment sealed his fate. His resignation takes effect August 24th. That's the day that Lieutenant Governor Kathy Hochul will make history, becoming the first female governor of New York. But the governor still faces criminal investigations and an impeachment probe. We start with News 4's Andrew Siff live on the East Side to break down the sudden turn of events, Andrew.
Right, Natalie, you laid it out pretty perfectly. This morning, we first heard that Governor Cuomo was taking his helicopter, the state helicopter, to New York City to make some kind of an announcement. No one knew what he was going to say. And then when he started speaking, it was still unclear until he then delivered the people of New York 2 weeks' notice.
I take full responsibility for my actions.
It was a moment filled with drama.
Given the circumstances, the best way I can help now is if I step aside and let government get back to governing.
Kathy Hochul would take the oath 2 weeks from now, becoming the first woman to lead the state. Today, the lieutenant governor said, as someone who has served at all levels of government and is next in the line of succession, I am prepared to lead as New York State's 57th governor.
But she can come up to speed quickly, and my resignation will be effective in 14 days.
But before today's surprise, Cuomo made the case many of his accusers misunderstood his intent.
In my mind, I've never crossed the line with anyone. But I didn't realize the extent to which the line has been redrawn.
The governor also, for the first time, addressed the female state trooper, one of 11 women in the Attorney General's report. The trooper accused Cuomo of touching her inappropriately.
I want to personally apologize to her and her family.
Assembly Speaker Carl Hastie said this has been a tragic chapter in our state's history. Governor Cuomo's resignation is the right decision. Senate Leader Andrea Stewart-Cousins said Governor Cuomo's resignation opens the door to a restorative future. And AG Letitia James said today closes a sad chapter for all of New York, but it's an important step towards justice. I thank Governor Cuomo for his contributions to our state. The ascension of our Lieutenant Governor Kathy Hochul will help New York enter a new day. While at the White House,
I respect the governor's decision.
And Lindsey Boylan, the first of 11 accusers, said, my hope always has been this will make it safer for other women to report their own harassment and abuse. The governor turned personal near the end of his speech today with a message to his 3 daughters.
Your dad made mistakes, and he apologized, and he learned from it. And that's what life is all about.
He then waved from behind the wheel of his state-issued Dodge Charger, and at the heliport, standing beside senior aides Melissa DeRosa, who's also resigning, and Stephanie Benton, turned and with daughters Michaela and Mariah, got into the chopper and flew back to Albany for his final 2 weeks on the job. Now, other than her brief statement, Lieutenant Governor Kathy Hochul stayed out of public view today, but that will change tomorrow. She is due right here in Manhattan at the governor's office, where she'll make some remarks and answer questions from reporters. Live on the East Side, Andrew Siff, News 4 New York.
Thank you, Andrew, and we will be watching that as well. Well, one of the main questions is whether the impeachment probe will move forward. So joining us again is Assemblymember Catalina Cruz from Queens. She's also on the Assembly Judiciary Committee. We thank you for joining us. First things first, what was your reaction to the governor's resignation today?
Thank you for having me again, Natalie. Look, I was a little bit shocked. There was a weird sense of this isn't really my fault. This whole statement of the line was withdrawn. There was really no contrition. I think ultimately New Yorkers are the ones who lost here. This is a decision that could have been made a long time ago and saved us a lot of grief.
And I know last night at 7, when we asked you if the probe would continue if he resigned, you said the committee would have to talk it over. So have you spoken at all to your fellow members yet on this?
I have, and there are some thoughts about the pros and cons of doing it. Ultimately, our power, once you go through an impeachment proceedings, to actually remove the person from their seat and prevent them from ever holding that seat again. But I think, there needs to be consideration as to what is best for New Yorkers, and whether we continue forward with this probe or not. It's a conversation we're going to have in person at our next meeting this Monday.
And we also understand that the probe is also focusing on COVID deaths in nursing homes, COVID testing, and the governor's book deal. So will those investigations continue if the impeachment probe were to be dropped?
I think we have to have that conversation as a committee, but I think it's important for New Yorkers to know that there are independent investigations currently happening on those same issues that could lead to criminal charges, in part from the federal government as well as the Attorney General.
And last question here tonight at 7. Do you believe that he should be banned from running again? What are your thoughts on that?
I think, we would have to have him be actually criminally convicted, and that's something for us to see what happens in the future. I think that the best thing he did was to withdraw from the seat that he has now. But as to whether he should run and be banned, that's a conversation we need to have.
Okay, Assemblymember Catalina Cruz, once again, we thank you for joining us, and we thank you for your time tonight. Appreciate it. All right, we will speak to one of Governor Cuomo's accusers in just a moment, but we have to turn to the weather, talk about the storms hitting right now, and then the extreme heat that'll follow. Let's get over to Storm Team 4's Janice Huff.
We'll track that heat first, Natalie, and it still feels like it's around 90 degrees right now in Teterboro, Caldwell, West Orange. But where you've got the thunderstorms, it feels a lot cooler. The heat index is going to continue to climb. This is what it'll feel like tomorrow, near 100 degrees in the city. Same thing on Thursday, even up to as high as 105 degrees in New York City Friday as well. We have the excessive heat watch, a heat advisory, and warnings in effect for the entire tri-state area Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Now to the storms. We can barely see the skyline right now as these strong storms head towards the city. There's also another batch moving through eastern Pennsylvania that will affect central New Jersey in a couple of hours. So this first wave is now moving towards the Turnpike and over towards the city. Right now towards North Bergen, Cliffside Park, Palisades Park, as well as LaGuardia and JFK airports. So we've got flight delays likely across the entire area right now. These storms will roll through in the next couple of hours. Things will dry out overnight, and then the heat starts to crank up for the next several days. I'll let you know when things cool down, as well as a look at the tropics coming up in a few minutes. Back to you.
All right, Janice, thank you. And we still have much more ahead for you at 7, including the new mask mandates that just went into effect in our area. The cities that just ordered people to wear masks indoors in public and private spaces, regardless of vaccination status. That's ahead. Plus, who is Kathy Hochul? She just shattered the glass ceiling we told you in New York. We'll introduce you further to the next governor of New York when our special coverage continues tonight at 7.